November 12, 1942. Richmond, California. A complete cargo vessel, 441 feet long, weighing 14,245 tons, stood ready to slide into San Francisco Bay. The SS Robert E. Peary had been assembled in just 4 days, 15 hours and 29 minutes. In traditional shipyards, master builders spent 6 to 8 months constructing similar vessels. Yet here, over 1,000 workers stepped back from their completed ship, not experienced shipwrights, but former secretaries, farmers, housewives, and laborers who had learned welding just weeks earlier. The crowd of officials and journalists had gathered to witness a moment that would shatter every assumption about industrial limits and transform American manufacturing forever. The story began on December 27, 1940, when Henry J. Kaiser signed his first shipbuilding contract. A 58-year-old construction magnate who had never built a ship, never managed a shipyard, and spent his career pouring concrete for massive dam projects. Traditional shipbuilders dismissed him as a naive opportunist. What they didn't understand was that Kaiser's lack of shipbuilding experience would become his greatest advantage. The crisis was desperate. German U-boats were sinking Allied shipping faster than traditional yards could replace vessels. In 1941 alone, 3.6 million tons of Allied shipping went to the ocean floor. Britain was literally starving. American shipyards, using conventional methods, required an average of 230 days to build a single cargo ship. At that pace, the Allies would lose the Battle of the Atlantic before American industry could respond. Kaiser's chief engineer, Clay Bedford, had visited Ford's assembly lines in Detroit. He returned convinced that ships could be built the same way as automobiles. Traditional shipbuilders considered this comparison absurd. Ships weren't cars. They were complex vessels requiring generations of accumulated expertise. The first shock came with Kaiser's proposal to eliminate riveting entirely. Traditional construction relied on rivets, heated metal pins hammered through overlapping steel plates. A skilled crew could install perhaps 200 rivets daily. Each Liberty ship required approximately 1 million rivets. Kaiser proposed electric arc welding instead, a technique he'd mastered building pipelines. Vice Admiral Emory Land, chairman of the U.S. Maritime Commission, examined Kaiser's proposal with deep skepticism. His private correspondence revealed the maritime establishment's horror. Welding has never been proven reliable for hull construction at this scale. Kaiser is proposing we bet America's supply lines on unproven technology. Yet Land recognized necessity. He approved Kaiser's contract not from confidence, but desperation. The Richmond shipyard rose from empty mudflats in 1941. Instead of traditional shipyard layouts, Kaiser built something resembling an automobile factory. Open areas for prefabrication surrounded 7 parallel building ways. Railroad tracks crisscrossed the facility. Overhead cranes capable of lifting 150-ton sections stood every 100 feet. John Riley, chief naval architect for Bethlehem Steel, visited in May 1941. His confidential report mixed criticism with grudging admiration. Kaiser has violated every principle I learned in 3 decades. His prefabrication areas are too large. His crane capacity is excessive. Yet I must admit, the facility is designed for exactly what he claims, rapid assembly of prefabricated sections. Traditional shipyards recruited from maritime communities where skills passed through generations. Kaiser advertised nationwide, offering wages 20% above standard rates and promising to train anyone willing to work. By October 1941, he employed 10,000 workers. Fewer than 200 had previous maritime experience. The simplification proved devastating to tradition. Traditional welders spent 4 years as apprentices. Kaiser's instructors taught specific techniques in 2 weeks. Workers didn't need comprehensive skills, just the ability to weld vertical seams or horizontal plates repeatedly. As workers gained experience, something remarkable occurred. Construction times plummeted. Kaiser's first Liberty ship took 197 days. Ship number 2, 169 days. Number 5, 128 days. Number 10, 97 days. By spring 1942, Richmond completed ships in 70 days average, matching traditional yards with their generations of expertise. The prefabrication approach that traditionalists dismissed proved revolutionary. Instead of building sequentially from keel to deck, Kaiser fabricated entire sections simultaneously. While one crew assembled the bow, others built stern sections, deck houses, and engine rooms in parallel. When ready, massive cranes lifted completed sections onto the building ways, where welding crews joined them together. In traditional shipbuilding, explained production supervisor Albert Bauer, you cannot install the engine until the engine room is built. Everything happens in sequence. Kaiser's approach allows parallel production. Tasks that required weeks now take hours. By fall 1942, competition developed between Kaiser's 7 yards. His son Edgar managed Oregon operations while Clay Bedford oversaw Richmond. Their informal contest became public spectacle. Newspapers published updates like sports scores. Oregon Shipbuilding built the Joseph N. Teal in just 10 days in September 1942. Vice Admiral Land's November visit to Richmond triggered the ultimate demonstration. His offhand comment about Liberty ship construction paling compared to other mass production was overheard by Bedford, who proposed building a complete ship in under 5 days. Starting November 8th at midnight, 1,000 workers began assembling the Robert E. Peary. Every component had been prefabricated. The bow section, 50 pieces fully welded with anchor hardware, waited ready. The engine, a 140-ton triple expansion steam plant, had been mounted and tested. 4 complete cargo holds stood prepared for installation. 4 days later, the hull was complete. Engine installed. Deck houses positioned. On November 12th at 3:27 p.m., just 4 days, 15 hours, and 29 minutes after keel laying, the SS Robert E. Peary slid into San Francisco Bay. The ship was delivered November 15th, setting another record: 7 days, 14 hours from keel to delivery. Vice Admiral Land's remarks to newsreel cameras captured the moment. 6 months ago, I would have called this impossible. Traditional wisdom said you cannot build a ship in 5 days. Henry Kaiser has made traditional wisdom obsolete. The psychological impact shattered traditional shipbuilders. The same yards that dismissed Kaiser now sent engineers to study his methods. The president of New York Shipbuilding Corporation visited Richmond in December. His confidential report revealed complete ideological collapse. Kaiser achieved the impossible by refusing to accept our limitations. He treated shipbuilding as manufacturing rather than craft tradition. We must adopt his approaches or accept irrelevance. By early 1943, Kaiser's methods transformed American production. 18 shipyards built Liberty ships using prefabrication and welding. Average construction time fell from 230 to 42 days. America launched 3 Liberty ships daily, more tonnage than German submarines could sink. Perhaps most devastating to tradition was Kaiser's workforce. By 1944, his yards employed 196,000 workers. Over 40,000 were women. Tens of thousands were African Americans in skilled positions. This democratization of skilled work challenged fundamental assumptions about labor and expertise. The numbers tell the story. 2,710 Liberty ships built between 1941 and 1945. Kaiser's 7 yards produced 1,490 ships, 27% of total American wartime merchant shipping. Construction time plummeted from 230 to 42 days average, with the Peary requiring just 4.6 days. Worker hours per ship fell from 1.1 million to 350,000. Costs dropped from $2 million to $1.8 million despite inflation. Of 2,710 ships built, approximately 200 were lost to enemy action, a 7.4% loss rate, comparing favorably to pre-war standards. 3 ships broke in half from brittle fracture, 0.11% of production. Many Liberty ships designed for 5-year lives served decades. The John W. Brown and Jeremiah O'Brien remain operational museum ships today, over 80 years after construction. Kaiser's influence extended beyond shipbuilding. His prefabrication techniques became standard in construction. His worker training methods influenced industrial education. His prepaid health care for workers evolved into Kaiser Permanente, now serving 12 million members. The steel mill he built to supply shipyards established California as a major steel producer. But the greatest legacy was proving the impossible possible. Admiral Chester Nimitz reflected, "Japan assumed American capacity was finite. They believed if they sank enough ships, our logistics would collapse. They failed to account for Henry Kaiser. By 1944, we replaced losses faster than they could inflict them. The Pacific War was won in shipyards as much as battlefields." Commander Joseph Kenworthy of the Royal Navy reported to the Admiralty, "Americans build adequate ships in weeks. Adequate multiplied by thousands defeats perfection multiplied by dozens." The Liberty ships are mostly gone now, but the revolution endures in every modern shipyard using modular construction, every training program teaching specific skills quickly, every manager questioning whether impossible means impossible, or simply nobody has figured it out yet. From December 1940, when Kaiser signed his first contract knowing nothing about ships, to November 1942, when the Robert E. Peary launched after 4.6 days, to September 1945, when the last Liberty ship was delivered, Kaiser proved industrial revolutions happen not through incremental improvements, but through fundamental reimagining of possibility. The 2,710 Liberty ships carried more than cargo. They carried proof that human ingenuity unshackled from tradition and empowered by necessity, can accomplish the seemingly impossible. That lesson, demonstrated in Richmond's shipyards and validated by ordinary people achieving extraordinary results, remains Kaiser's enduring legacy, carved not in steel, but in transformed understanding of what dedicated people can accomplish when freed from constraints and challenged to attempt what experts claim cannot be done.